Okay, everyone, let's not delay further. Let's start off with proceedings. So good morning, everyone. Wishing you all a bright Saturday morning. We'll be starting with the session now. And so today's webinar will be on the topic of healthcare. So it's ideally suited for people in the healthcare profession. So doctors, nurses, and anyone in the healthcare professional, this is for you. But not just primarily for them. Anyone who's interested in going into healthcare field, they can join in as well. So today we'll be focusing on the topic of strategies for personal and professional growth in the healthcare field. So we had a webinar a few weeks back as well, focusing on the teaching profession. So today we'll be moving on to the healthcare sector. So I hope I'm audible. So let me know in case I'm not.
You're audible, Adila.
Okay, thank you. So joining me today will be our resource person, Dr. Rasanjalee Abeywickrama. So if you've got any students of ours here, she needs no introduction. But for the uninitiated, she, apart from being a part of our lecture panel, she also holds a bachelor's in biotechnology and also a master's in applied genetics and also a doctorate in business administration. So she'll be walking you through the industry trends and why the healthcare professional should be the one for you and anything that you might need to know about the current trends of the healthcare industry. So, Ms. Rasanjalee.
Yeah, thank you, Adila, for your kind introduction. So, today we are going to talk about, it's rather than I'm talking here, it will be a question and answer mode where we have understood a few of the questions which most of the students have when they're trying to enter into the healthcare industry or when they're trying to elevate their career in the healthcare industry. So that's how we are going to have this session today. And we have identified a few questions. So I'm ready to answer all of your questions also after we finish our session. So Adila, shall we start?
Yes, Dr. Rasanjalee, it's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you. Like you said, the first part of the program is going to be a question and answer session, and then we'll give the participants the opportunity to come up with their own questions in case they need to have enough doubts cleared. So let's dive in. So the first question I have for you would be, I think that would be one that is very important when we start off with this whole session. Who are actually healthcare professionals? What does being a healthcare professional entail? What's it all about? Who is a healthcare professional?
All right. That's an interesting question because most of the time, students and as well as professionals, they misunderstand this healthcare professionals. What we think from our childhood, I think most of you are joining with us today. When we say healthcare professional, that will be a doctor or nurse. So these are the two professions which comes into our mind. And out of that also we think you become a doctor would be the best way to move forward in the healthcare profession. And that's how we have been brought up, right? I think everyone would agree with me, especially in Asian culture and our country and Asian countries. So this is how we have been brought up. But actually, healthcare professionals are not limited to these doctors or the medical practitioners and the nurses. There are so many other professions which you could count as the healthcare professionals. We always feel like it's a prestige to work in healthcare profession because one thing is, of course, we are helping most of the patients and we have our self-satisfaction and we are doing a service. And moreover, we have that self-respect towards us when we say we are working in the healthcare sector, right? So most of the time we are trying to get into that. Usually what happens, we say you aim for the moon and at least try to hit a star. So what happens when you try to be a doctor? If that doesn't take place, you try to become a nurse and enter into the healthcare sector. So this is the common case. But today's world, healthcare sector is booming, right? So it's not only the nurses or the doctors we could say, or we could introduce as the healthcare professionals. It could be anyone who will be helping to elevate the career elevate the patient's health, right? Anyone, it could be anyone. So it could be a doctor, it could be a nurse, it could be a medical laboratory technician, it could be your radiographer, it could be a midwife, it could be attendant, it could be a healthcare assistant, it could be anyone. And not only them. Now, we always see them. We always see these are the healthcare professionals, but not only them. When you're operating a hospital, when you're operating a healthcare center, you see there are many other people who are helping them. Actually, those are the backbone. Like when you say, when you are going through a hospital, when you're going through a treatment center, there's another set of individuals which helps to carry out all these functions and which facilitate these medical professionals to carry out their functions as well. So who are they? These are like you have general manager, you have director, medical director, you have sometimes a chief nursing officer, you have HR department. So there are back office work which is happening always in the healthcare sector, and you see these people always play a huge role, an important role. And nowadays this industry is blooming. So that's why you see most of the time healthcare managers. Now, if you go back, if you go to 10 years back, I don't think so. You have seen many vacancies for healthcare managers, healthcare center managers, operational managers. No, there was not much vacancies. And even if vacancies were existing, sometimes it was only limited to a person who was in the healthcare sector itself. Like the basic qualification they will ask starts from MBBS degree, and after that they ask for the management experience. But now the world has been changed. There are enormous opportunities where you can enter into healthcare sector, not only by doing a medical professional, not only by practicing, but by earning other qualifications, which is relevant, where you can get into the management, healthcare management. So these people also we could call as healthcare professionals. So they are hidden, but they also play an important role. And now even the career, like, if we take the whole world, the industry is blooming and these vacancies are also popping up. So all these set of people who will basically function the hospital or healthcare center, we could call as the healthcare professionals. So it's not only limiting to the nurses and doctors as we always see. I hope I answered your question, Adila.
Yes, Dr. Rasanjalee, that is really good, because like everyone is under the impression that to go into the healthcare field, you need to have either a medical degree or a degree related to some really difficult thing to go through before then actually step into the healthcare field. So that was really good. So what would you say the career developments are like, whether they are a seasoned professional or whether they are just stepping into the field? What kind of career developments can they expect if they go into the healthcare field?
Okay, so talking about the career development, if you take, it's a vast topic where we could even talk for days and days, but here we will see like what is the basic one. What do you mean by career development? First thing. So career development is different from career training. That's the first thing I need to tell you. Like even the people who have joined here, there might be already nurses, doctors who are working, and there might be some other professionals from healthcare industry. So when you go to the hospital and when you join working with them, any hospital, any healthcare sector, you will be trained, right? Rather, like generally they will take you through training sessions and they will show you how the operations will be taking place. And this training is something different from career development, right? Career development is like you're going beyond the training. Training is, if someone is being trained, that means you're training that person to perform the job related duties, the basic skills, basic attitudes, basic attributes you need to perform will be given to you. So that's what you mean by training. But when you say you are doing the development, career development, that is something beyond the training. Beyond the training in the sense you already have the training, but you're trying your best to go little beyond what the others are doing, right? So you're trying to be that featuring individual within the organization, where you are trying to elevate your career. So that's where you're talking about the career development. So when you say career development, there are actually two ways you can develop your careers. There are two methods. One is like the traditional career development method, which most of the time people were doing. If I say 10 years back, most of the time everybody was into traditional career development. And the other one is that protein career development. So what is this protein career development? Is that you're not limiting into one career, right? Like, let's say you might be healthcare professional, like you might be a nurse today, but then you might need to change your profession. You might need to, from the nurse, you might need to enter into the administration, right? Or you might be a software engineer today, and you might need to enter into the management. So this career development is known as protein career development. So today's world, actually, most of the time we could say we see this protein career development because people always change their career, change their paths depending on the requirement, and as like, you know, the vacancies come, the requirement comes, people would need to change. So this is one thing. And the second thing is, when you say career development, if I'll ask from the audience who are joined here today, if I'll ask you to write down what skills you have developed within past 2 years, what are the skills you have added to your profiles within past 2 years, different people might have different answers. Some might have something to say, yes, we have upskilled ourselves, but some might say, no, we did not added any new skills to our profiles, right? So that means those are the people who are not interested in developing the career. So when you say you're trying to develop your career, you definitely need to upgrade yourself. So we all know today's world, now we are moving from even the normal IT generation to AI, artificial intelligence. And being in healthcare industry, you might know most of the time, like within another 10 years time, most of these, even the operations will be done through artificial intelligence. So these are the new technologies, right? New technologies being adding to all of the industries. So healthcare industry is one of the pioneer in that, because healthcare industry is one of the most essential industry. So therefore, like always people are trying to go beyond and invent new things, right? So you need to be updated all the time. You need to be updated on this. And it's very important that you are skilled enough and you have upgraded your skills. So this is what you mean by the career development. So when you say career development, it's very important that you are updated and you know what is the exact skill set you would need within another 5 to 10 years. And you learn, you go for it. You should have that aim. And if I'll ask you, like most of the time when you go for an interview, the one common question the interview panel would ask is, where do you see yourself in another 5 years time? So since we know that, sometimes even, you know, you get practice to answer for that question and you go there, but that's actually not what you want to be, right? So you make that, you prepare that answer and go just because you need to get the job, right? You might not have an actual answer internally from yourself, but since you need to get the job, you will have the answer and go. But that is actually a valid question, because you should have that aim, you should have the target in your life, and you should always upgrade yourself, and you should move your career into the next step. For that purpose, you need to always upgrade the skills. This could be practicals, the experience, and theoretical skills, researchers. So there are enough ways available today. So you always need to upgrade yourself if you're planning to develop your career, because otherwise you'll be stagnated. You'll be stagnated in your current position, current place, and you might when you feel like you're in the comfortable zone, you'll be there, you'll be stacking there. But then of course you will feel like, you know, you don't have any goal in your life, right? So we all like our self-actualization, and we all like to have that self-satisfaction. So for that purpose, we need to upgrade our skills, right? So this will elevate your career, and this will take your life into the next step, because by adding those skills, you will be more successful in your career. And then you can always demand yourself. You can always, whenever you're going to another place, you can demand, you can show what are the skills you have, you can show what you have added to your profiles. And in that way, you can always have promotions, and you can definitely develop your career. Yeah, Adila. Adila, there's one problem. I can't share my screen. If you could fix it, because it says the permission is not there. Any possibility that you can make me a present? I think that's what you need to do. Look, I'm here as a participant, so I could not share my screen. Yeah, thank you.
So you're ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah, now it's fine. So therefore, I could not show these slides for you all. Anyway, I hope you can see the screen right now. Yeah. Okay, so we were here. Yeah, we talk about the career development. Adila, we can move to the next question.
Speaking of career development, the question that most might have is like, where can I start off? Like, what's the first step in the right direction? How do I go about it? Like, they might be like overwhelmed with a lot of self-doubt, and like, what would be the right thing to do, and like, where can I actually start off? Which step is the right step? So how would you guide them in allaying their fears and doubts?
Yeah, this would be very valid question, Adila. I would say this should be the start. This should be the starting point. Very valid question, because to go ahead with the career development, the first thing you should need to know is, where are you standing right now, right? The first thing you should know about yourself. So self-assessment is really important. And that's where you can start your steps or your proceedings to go to the next step, right? Like, let's say we are climbing up on the ladder of our career, we should know where are we right now. So to do that, you should know about yourself. Now, for an example, you should be able to accept yourself, the first thing, then only you can develop, right? So one of the gray area in healthcare sector, I could say, is none of these medical syllabuses, like could be nursing, it could be medical practitioner syllabuses, like even medical colleges and any other like medical related MLTs and all those syllabuses, we don't have any provisions to learn this management components, which is really needed for our lives. These are really needed because it's not only for your career perspective, but even your personal growth, personal developments. There are some parts you would need to have, the basic knowledge you need to have in the management. Now, for an example, if I'll say finance management. So finance management, yes, it is very important sector for you when you're working. If you're working as a financial advisor, or if you're working as an accountant, yes. But when you're talking about our personal life also, it's very important topic, right? Finance management is an important topic where we should all know how to manage our finance. The same way, the management of ourselves, like basic personal management skills, is something else again, like we are missing when we are directly going through the medical career path, and when we are trying to learn only the medical content in our syllabuses. So out of this, I could say, which is like we have missed, and very important thing is the SWOT analysis, right? So SWOT analysis is not a new terminology for the people who are in the management industry, but few people who are in the medical industry, like including nurses, doctors, MLTs and all, I might think some of you have not heard about it, right? So I don't mind involving the audience. Y'all, if you like to speak out, you can raise your hand and give answers when we are discussing. So y'all all are welcome to answer the questions when we are even going through the webinar. Okay, since it's question and answer session. So you can raise your hand so that Adila could give the chance to that person who can speak out. Okay, so having that aside, this SWOT analysis for the personal development is very important. right? So what is this SWOT analysis? What do you mean by these 4 letters? So it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first thing you should do is, now Adila asked me like where to start. So you understand yourself. You try to take a piece of paper and write down what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, right? And then you could see the opportunities and threats which will come on your way, and it will lead you to understand what are the steps you need to carry forward for coming few years. What are the skills you need to develop in order to come out through your weaknesses and making them into strengths, right? So basically you are converting your weaknesses into strengths. But as I told you, to do any of these things, the first thing is self-awareness. That is very important. So you all need to know where are you right now, where are you standing, right? It's like this, Adila. Now, let's say you need to admit your, whatever the, you need to admit yourself as yours. Now, if I say, Adila, you are a person who are always getting angry, I'm just telling, or you're always getting angry and you should, you should somehow correct yourself. I'm telling, and someone else is telling, like all of your friends are coming and telling you. But then as a person, you don't think that you are getting angry, right? You think, okay, my temper is fine. I mean, I don't know why everyone is telling, I'm okay. Why everyone is asking me to control it. So until and unless you understand that there's something wrong, you won't be able to correct yourself, right, Adila? I just took that example. Okay, so it's nothing out of it, but then you have to admit yourself. That is very important. You have to admit, and then only you can correct yourself, right? So otherwise, when everyone around coming and telling you, right, you have this problem, you have to develop this, you have, this particular attitude needs to be changed, and your skills needs to be upgraded, you won't be able to do that until and unless they are accepting it. So this is where you have to start. When you ask me where to start, this is where you have to start. The first thing is you have to understand yourself, and then you have to understand where you want to move into, right? So there might be some people joining with us today thinking that, okay, I want to migrate to another country. I want to somehow leave the country and go somewhere and settle down. So that might be their requirement. So if that is a requirement, you should see, okay, how, by doing which profession I should migrate, right? And what is the life I'm aiming for, and where am I currently? So for me to go and do the work there, what are the skills I should develop, right? So with saying that, now it's very unfortunate situation I have, witnessed. Most of the time, nurses here who have years and years of experience, they're trying to move as a caregiver to some other country, right? But you already have the experience as nurse and you have all the capabilities. But just because you have a language barrier, just because you have some attitude issues, you are trying to move there, downgrading yourself, which is unfortunate. That is not what exactly needs to be done. You need to upgrade yourself. You need to learn. I mean, there's nothing that we could say you can't do, right? It's all your attitude. It has to come through yourself. So you need to develop yourself. You need to grab those skills which you needed. And then once you think that your profile is fine, then you can take the next step to migrate as a nurse itself, not as a caregiver. So this is just one example, right? So the important thing is you have to understand where are you standing right now, and then you have to see where the opportunity is existing. And when you see where the opportunity is existing, you cannot only think about the opportunities existing today, but you can think about the opportunity will exist in another 4 to 5 years time, right? Now, for an example, if I take, now there's a blooming in the healthcare industry all over the world, okay? All of a sudden, there were so many vacancies existing for nurses and caregivers in Europe sector, and everyone is now trying to do nursing and be a nurse, or do a crash course in caregiving, be a caregiver and move out, right? This is the situation today. But if you have identified it 5 years back, you might have prepared yourself, and you don't want to, in a hurry, you don't want to learn all these things and just try to run away. Right? Instead, you have already prepared. When the opportunity comes, you just need to take yourself to the next step and move out. So the same thing happens still. Now everyone is trying to do nursing, but doing nursing, yes, there are some opportunities right now. You need to look into another 5 years time, because the time you do this particular courses, by another 3 years, 4 years, 5 years time, how the opportunities will be existing. So if you are doing that, if you're trying to be a nurse, yes, you can do that, but you need to upgrade yourself. You need to have added some extra skills, additional skill, which you think that you could demand in another 5 years time, because if you start learning today, you might finish it in another 5 years time, right? Especially the bachelor's courses. When it comes to postgraduate even, you need to think in another 6 years time, in another 1 year time, where the opportunities will be existing, because that's the time when you will have this qualifications within you. So you need to get yourself prepared to go to that. You should aim that, not today. You always need to live in future, right? You always need to target for the future. If you try to target today and do it, sometimes by the time you collect all your qualifications and you are trying to apply for those vacancies might not be even existing, right? So always you need to upgrade yourself. You need to look out like what are the opportunities and what will be the opportunities existing in future, and you need to get yourself prepared for that. So that is what exactly you need to do, and that is where you have to start. And when you're talking about where should you start, actually it's kind of a long process. We could even do it in different sessions, but this is the most shortest answer, Adila, I could give right now.
So the key here, Dr. Rasanjalee, is to develop a growth mindset, being open to ideas and suggestions, whether it be like criticisms even, whether it's constructive or otherwise, and constantly upskilling and upgrading oneself. So we have to like evaluate ourselves from within and develop the self-confidence.
Exactly.
So that's like, we were like talking about the newbies in the healthcare industry. So now what about like seasoned professionals, like professionals who've been in the healthcare sector for years and years, and they've got several years under their belt and they know the ins and outs. So they might have the question, okay, like I'm all set and I'm comfortable and ensconced in this particular field, but how am I supposed to move forward? How can I move forward? What opportunities do I have with my current qualifications? How can I like, climb up the corporate ladder? What opportunities do I have in that area? So those might be some of the questions that the seasoned professionals might be having. So we just dealt with the newbies. So like when it comes to people with several years of experience, so what advice can you give them?
Yeah, that's a good question, because now when you say like people with number of experience, right? Yeah, they have so many years of experience and they have stagnated in the same place. Actually, if you go open your you have all the sources to get the informations right now, not like those days. There's enough sources of information available in Google. You can you have the YouTube. There are so many social medias, so many things, right? So when you if you are really interested, you can research a little bit and see there's one field which is related to healthcare, which is currently booming, right? And when I say it's currently, in near 1 to 2 years time, you will have even more opportunities in this field. That is what I have started with. That is the management. Right now, you say when you are practicing as a healthcare professional, when you are doing clinical practices, you have some knowledge in that, right? But if you can add some managerial experience, to add the managerial experience, of course, you need to add some managerial professional qualifications. So if you can have the collaboration between your clinical experience and the managerial experience, you definitely can demand yourself, because there's a huge vacuum now coming through these healthcare managers, right? So if you even try searching, not just because I'm telling this, you can just try search it out. Within coming few years, there will be a huge demand, which you have currently for the nurses. There will be a huge demand for the healthcare managers, because the reason is previously we did not have this requirement and there was no much courses or whatever available for people to study management who are in the healthcare field. Like if you want to study management, they go with the MBA course, simply whatever it is, healthcare, or if you are into logistics, or if you are into finance, or if you are into marketing or whatever it is, they will go through a common master in business administration course. But later on, this have been, this has been like separated to different industries, and now the most one of a kind course is always this postgraduate courses in healthcare management, because we have education management. Previously, we have only one course, but now we have segregated segments, and we have postgraduate opportunities for people to go and grab them, right? So if you are really in the field of healthcare and you have been stagnated in the same area, this is one of the good opportunity and good area which you could go and study further, because by adding some management qualifications into your healthcare qualifications will make you a complete person. It's very rare we could find people with having this combination of the experience and the qualifications, right? So when if you can at any instant, if you can add some postgraduate qualifications in healthcare management, this could be a value added for your CV, as well as you would open to a huge job market in the coming years. That is, like, again, it will be like, if you're waiting till that time, again you have to study, and by the time you study and groomed and come back, the vacancies will be closed, which is currently happening for the nursing and caregiving sector, because people are trying to study, and by the time they study and go out as a general nurse, of course the opportunities might not be existing, because we can't say that the opportunities existing today will be the same tomorrow, right? So as I told you, as I exactly told you, if that is the case, you need to somehow master one of the important skill or important other factor also when you're doing those basic courses. But when we say this healthcare manage, it's just started to grow, and in coming years, like coming 2, 3, 4 to 5 years, there will be maximum amount of vacancies in the healthcare management, and people who already have the qualifications and the experience can easily apply and move out if you are looking out for the opportunities in abroad. And same goes for the local, even the local hospitals, local healthcare centers would definitely require healthcare managers, because it's really important for them to manage these sectors, because like having the physicians, having the best doctors, nurses, doesn't matter if you don't know how to manage them. So management part is really important. If you don't know how to coordinate between them, if you don't know how to manage them, how much of best equipments you have, how much of a best the clinical practitioners you have, you will not be successful. So therefore, all these sectors, the hospitals and the healthcare sectors, will look out for good managers. So unlike those days, now they won't prefer just general people who are coming from the business administrative sector, but they're always looking for a person who has both the combinations. Like healthcare management is one of the best, I could say, industry which you could step into, if you ask me, the opportunities for the people who are currently in the healthcare sector, and also people who are in the other sectors, like the management, the marketing, and all other sectors. When I say if they really need to make a move towards a different sector, even this is one of the good opportunity where you can go and study this healthcare management, because there will be so many vacancies even now and in future will be opening for the people who are having this kind of qualification as well as the experience. I hope that answer was sufficient for your question, Adila.
Wonderful, Dr. Rasanjalee. So that's for the ones here who's been wondering what's next for me. So there you have your.
Exactly.
So yeah, and my next question is, kind of one that I myself am confused about. So like we hear, a lot of different ways in which people in the healthcare workers basically are being described as. You have healthcare workers, health and social caregivers, social care workers, again, caregiver. So like you have so many different terminologies out there. So it could even be a fine line dividing the two professions. So could you walk us through what the differences are between these professions, like within the healthcare sector?
Okay, so I think I got your question. I think what you mean to ask was like the healthcare managers and the healthcare givers, right? What is the difference and what is the fine line between them? Now, I know why the question comes, because as I told you, most of the time, like now we admit that we all are going through a rough time. It's very difficult. Most of us, most of the people to run out the families here in Sri Lanka. So everyone needs to move out of the country. So this is a basic requirement at now. Currently, this is what everyone is looking for. So what people think is one of the very wrong concept which is being somehow put into the community is that by doing healthcare management, health and social care management, because that word social is there. This is I think where the people get misunderstanding, because what they think is when you do health and social care management, you can move out as a caregiver. Yes, you can move out if you are in the healthcare industry. Okay, if you are in the healthcare industry, you have experience as a caregiver, or you have experience as a nurse. If you have experience as, if you have any clinical experiences after doing this social and healthcare level 7 program, or social and healthcare management programs, or even masters in social and healthcare, whatever it is, you can move as a caregiver. But you are not demanding, you are degrading your position. This is what this healthcare management is not, to be a caregiver. Why this course is there? Once you follow these programs, healthcare management programs, you basically can migrate. That is not an issue, right? You can migrate. You have more opportunities, but to work as healthcare administratives, healthcare managers, right? Not as the caregivers, because caregiver, now if you say why I'm answering in this way is that I also get so many inquiries sometimes, because people, people sometimes approach me for the career development and career change. So they're asking some advices. So when they come for that kind of consultations, what they ask is, I have experience. I'm a marketer. I've been in the marketing industry for so many years. I want to migrate. So can I do this healthcare management or health and social care postgraduate diploma or degree? And can I move out as a caregiver? I mean, you cannot, because if you take these syllabuses and see, you don't have any clinical component embedded in these syllabuses. Healthcare management or health and social care management, postgraduate diplomas or degrees, anywhere. Anywhere I'm talking about, does not have any clinical component in that, because that is not the requirement for these kind of courses. The requirement is equipping people with the management skills, the managerial skills, the leadership, the qualities, what you have to have, what are the attitudes you have, how to manage with people, how to coordinate, what are the administrative skills you need to add. So these are this would be the content you are going to learn. You are not going to learn anything which is related to clinicals, like, how to insert a cannula, or how to do a blood transfusion, how to give basic IV cannulation, or how to insert a catheter. These won't be the content in the health and social care management courses, where people think by doing this, they can migrate as a caregiver. That is a very wrong concept which has been developed in the country. And unfortunately, most of the institutes also, they are providing this, they are promoting it in that way, where the people will be ultimately get into a trouble at the end. Because if you want to move as a caregiver, you should have some or other experiences as a nurse or a caregiver here, right? But by doing this course, just I could say you can migrate. You have enough opportunities, not as a caregiver, better positions. You can always look up for better positions, not as a caregiver. Right? So when you look up for better positions, yes, of course, your life standard will be better, your salaries will be better, but don't really, try to approach yourself only for caregivers, since the vacancies are existing. Because when you equipped with this kind of knowledge, and when you get all this content which is in the healthcare management courses, you will understand that by learning this, you won't be able to do that. But if you are really in this healthcare sector, like a nurse or caregiver, and if you really need to migrate, then you can have, idea about how the managerial skills, what are the managerial skills you need to have, what are the special skills and the set of attitudes you need to work when you should have while you are working. All those things can be grabbed by following these healthcare management courses. Then yes, you can migrate as a caregiver. But apart of that, the people who are from other industries trying to migrate, yes, this is a good path where you can start off, but not as a caregiver. So these are two different areas where many people have misunderstood, and many a time, like, it was not clearly explained at any forum I see. So most of the time people do just follow these courses just for the purpose of migrating as a caregiver, which is not true. Right? I think that clears out your doubt, Adila. If you have any other questions related to that, you may raise as well.
Yes, it does. It explains it properly. So, you've given us a comprehensive overview of the healthcare field. Now, you are thinking of developing your skill set to develop yourself and grab hold of the opportunities that are knocking at your door. What kind of skill sets should he or she be developing so that they can go about building their career and grabbing hold of the opportunities that are available?
Right. So these skill sets, when you're talking about the skills, like these skills would be the skills which you need to develop in any career, any field you are in. If you want to upgrade yourself, you need to have some basic skill sets, right? You need to have basically good communication. Good communication skills are really important. Now, if you take, I have personally witnessed here in Sri Lankan context, some of the medical professionals, some of the, I don't need to, name the professions like nurses, doctors, whatever it is. Some of the medical professionals, they don't have proper communication skills. So because a patient walking to the hospital with some or other problem, a normal, I mean, until and unless we are going to visit a patient, a normal person without any reason will not walk into a hospital. So their mindset will be different. They will be in they will not be in a normal situation, right? So at that time, how we are communicating with the patient, how we are going to do the communication, that is really important. So this is not only important for the doctors, nurses, and the attendants or the healthcare assistant. This is important for the managers also, because why it's important for the managers? They are the people who needs to train the people, your fellow nurses, your fellow attendants. You need to train them on their communication, right? So that therefore communication is really important. That is one of the very important area you need to develop. So when I say communication, developing communication is very important. It's not only the healthcare sector, but all other sectors also, generally we need to have good communication skills. But when we are talking about the healthcare sector, this is one of the very important or crucial part, because by sometimes a good communication itself, you can help patients, right? Rather than, getting on them. Now, for an example, if you go to a different country, you will experience this. If you go to a different country, especially like people are trying to move to UK and USA and all those countries, you see how well you need to communicate with patients. It's not like what happens here in our countries, right? Asian countries. You need to have that communication skills developed, and it needs to be not only developed within the frontline healthcare sector professionals, it needs to be developed in the backside also, like backline healthcare professionals also, like the healthcare managers and healthcare administratives, because they are the people who need to communicate between the healthcare workers also, right? So therefore, this is one of the very important skill you need to develop. And the leadership, right? Leadership is really important, because when you are working as a healthcare manager, you are going to handle a team. You are going to handle a team of different professions. Like you might have healthcare, medical professionals, you might have nurses, you might have medical laboratory technicians, you might have physiotherapists. So all this team you are going to coordinate with. So for that, you need to have good leadership skills. And of course, your compassion to your work, right? And then how to analyze a problem solving, decision making. This needs to be very quick, not in like other industries. You can take 1 week's time to come into a decision. When it comes to a patient, it's very important that when there's a situation where you need to attend with the patient, you need to make decisions very quickly, right? And problems needs to be solved very quickly. And since you are in charge of a team, you need to have this team building skills as well. How to build a team properly? What are the skills like the team members should have, and how you can how well you can cater your patients when there's a good team built within your healthcare sector. And of course, the performance under pressure. So unlike any other industry, of course, healthcare industry, when you're working, there will be so much of pressure. So how we are going to handle this pressure, right? So by handling this pressure, you should not be, have hypertension, or you should not be sick, but you need to handle the pressure, and you have to perform under the pressure. And how you are focusing on yourself, and how you are focusing on your fellow team members, and how we are focusing on patients. So these are very important, as well as attention to details. Now, these are few of the skills which you need to develop as a healthcare manager. And of course, you could see in the future, or even rather now, when you are going to apply for any of the vacancies, when you say as a healthcare manager, these are few of the listed skills they will look into, right? So when you have developed these skills along with your clinical skills as well as your experience, you will have a good demand. So that will make you to a person, the perfect person which they're looking out for as a healthcare manager.
So Dr. Sanjay, it's not just about the hard skills, it's all about the soft skills as well, developing soft
Yes,
skills.
of course, because soft skills are more important, Adila, when it comes to healthcare sector rather than their clinical skills.
Indeed. So we've covered a lot of ground in the last 15 minutes, that is. So let's give the audience the opportunity to come up with their own questions, shall we?
Yes, but I need to tell one more thing, just one more thing, like since we are talking about this level 7 OTHM program in health and social care, if anyone here, because it's free for all of you, you can, when you say it's OTHM in health and social care level 7 program, the curriculum is even available.
Actually, yes, I put a question to you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so why would I have to choose a level 7 qualification? What would you say? Like, how would you say that it would benefit me? Like, let's say you decide to go for a level 7 qualification, how would it benefit me?
Okay, you exactly what I was about to explain. So I was about to explain that. So yeah, so talking about the level 7 health and social care curriculum, that's what I told. Like any one of you are free to search this, right? You go to internet, search for OTHM level 7 healthcare curriculum, it will be available, right? So just the syllabus or the curriculum will be available. And once you see the curriculum, you will definitely understand by doing this, you can't perform clinical skills, because that curriculum will have all this soft skill development, how to develop your communication, how to manage people in the healthcare sector, how to do team building, what is the leadership, how to bring, what are the strategies you need to develop in the healthcare setup, and by doing what, the financial management, how to manage financials in the healthcare setup. And of course, you have some other modules which bring out your leadership skills, and how to maintain team building, how to perform under pressure. All those things will be included in that curriculum if you go and see. So that if that will give you the the opportunity to identify what you're going to learn. So by identifying that, of course, it's very easy for you itself to understand without asking from anyone else whether I'll be able to work as a caregiver after completing this course. No, you can't. As I told you, until and unless you have some experience or you have some other relevant experience as the health caregiver or the nurse, you can't work as a caregiver after completing this course. But at the same time, you see how interested the syllabus is, where instead of working as a caregiver, you will be moving to the next level of your career. Now, for an example, being a nurse, getting into a caregiver will degrade your career, like you are stepping down, you are not moving up in your career, right? So when you were talking about the career development, so instead of you are moving to the next step, you are just downgrading one step. But when you do this kind of a program, right, which will enhance your management skills, managerial skills, of course you are going to move one step ahead, because like with the clinical knowledge you have, you are going to adapt some management skills, management qualifications to your profiles, which will make you into the next step. So that's why I'm telling, like, it's not for the sake of do it, but you yourself, you can do a research and see how important this particular content in this program and how important it will be for you to level up your career into the next step. So that's why I personally think that a person, the first thing I should say, if you need to do that, first you think where you need to go for and what are you looking for in another 5 years time. And if you're looking for elevating of your career, then you can, select a program like this. And if you are just doing it for the sake of migrating, sometimes if you are not, if you're not from the field of healthcare and you're doing this just think that by doing this you could, go as a caregiver, it's not going to work out, right? But even people from other sectors, like, not from the healthcare, but from the other sectors can follow this course and of course can enter into the healthcare field as a manager, as an administrator, not as a caregiver. So that is the importance of this level 7 health and social care program. Adila.
Your answer sums it all up nicely. So Rasanjalee, can we go ahead with the Q&A?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we'd like to entertain a few questions from the audience. So you guys can go ahead and we invite questions from you. So you can just drop in any questions that you might have on the Zoom chat, and we promise to answer every one of them. The time permits, that is.
Yes, I would say if anyone is having any questions, please go ahead, because it's an opportunity where, like, you could know what you have to, learn through right now. Or you might be in a situation where you're trying to strategize your career and you're trying to understand whether to follow this or not to follow that. So I might be able to answer your questions if you have any.
So yes, fellow attendees, you can fire away.
You can raise your hand so that we could answer your questions.
Okay, we have one here that's from Mr. Amir Rasanjalee. Is there an advantage to follow this if you are in healthcare? So that's
I'm sorry, Adila, I didn't get the question.
Is there an advantage to follow this if you are in healthcare? That's the question from Mr. Amir.
Okay, so is there any advantage of following this course in healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so advantage, Amila, is that, as I told you, if you are planning to enter into the management sector of the healthcare, this will be definitely benefit you, right? If you are in the field of, you might be in a different field, and if you want to get into the healthcare field, this is one of the good opportunity. You can get into the healthcare field as a healthcare manager, as the healthcare operational manager or healthcare, and you can climb up the ladder until the director CEO of a hospital. So it's like by adding the experience and by mastering the skills. So that will be a good opportunity for you. And even if you are in the healthcare sector itself, if you're trying to move into the next level, like if you're trying to get into some managerial positions, because now, for an example, if you're a nurse, if you want to get into a managerial positions like chief nursing officer, up to that level, you can climb up in your ladder. Now, so far, we did not have courses like this. So therefore, like anyone who has nursing, who are doing nursing and with the number of years of experience, you are getting promoted and you are getting into the management. So that's how it was operated. But that was in Sri Lanka. In other countries, they always needs you to follow this kind of courses. If you want to get into the managerial positions, it's a mandatory that you have to follow this healthcare management program. Postgraduate, either it could be a diploma or degree, whatever it is, you need to have that relevant qualification fulfilled if you need to enter into the management positions. So I think I answered your question, Amila.
Thank you, Dr. Rasanjalee. So we have we got any question?
Okay, so I got another question from Mahela Munasinghe. So what he's asking is, could you suggest any avenues to develop leadership skills? Of course. So he's a medical officer.
Interrupt you for a minute, just a side note to the community. So like we've been getting direct messages. Would appreciate it if you could like send it as a common message so that Dr. Rasanjalee could address you directly.
Right. So let me answer to this question first to Dr. Mahela Munasinghe. Yeah, he's asking about the leadership skills, how to develop leadership skills. Mahela, I could say, talking about developing leadership skills, there are many ways like you can learn only leadership skills if you're looking for leadership skills development programs are there where you could attend. Like it could be workshops, like even the one-day workshop kind of thing, like for healthcare professionals. That is one way. Second thing is, if you are really looking for leadership, not only the leadership skills, but when we say leadership skills, we need to have leadership skills, people management skills, and how to handle people, how to handle and how to do the team working, how to handle a team. So all these things, if you would like to learn in more detail, you can follow a level 7 program of OTHM in health and social care that I would suggest. But again, you can go through the content. As I told you, it's really available in the internet. We are not just doing this just to, asking you to join for this course, but then why we did this to give you all a knowledge and to bridge that gap, because most of the people did not know. And most of the time, these counselors have got inquiries asking whether after doing this health and social care level 7 program, can they work as caregivers. So we wanted to bridge the gap where the knowledge gap was there. So we wanted to bridge that, and that's why we were doing this. So, but you're free. You can always, search internet, go through that and see the curriculum of this, and you will understand how important it is for you to follow this particular program. Rather than that, you can even attend to leadership development programs, leadership development workshops in order to, develop your leadership skills. Because why I'm saying is like, again, I need to stress that there's a little gray area in our curriculum, because medical professionals will not have chance, will not have the opportunities in their curriculum to develop these skills, because with the time they have, the number of content they are going through, the clinical content, they will be missing all this part, like how to develop themselves, the personal development, the leadership skills, the managing of the people, financial management, all this will be missed. So therefore it's advisable, and it's of course one of the good opportunity for you to learn all those things, which will elevate your career. Not only your career, even your personal development will be elevated once you get these skills upgraded in yourself.
Okay, so I think I've got two more questions. One from Mr. Ranga and again another one from Mr. Amila. So coming back to Mr. Ranga, he asks, do we need accreditations or local body registrations?
Sorry, do we
need accreditations or local body registrations?
The question is not clear. Do we need accreditation?
Mr. Ranga, like, is it like accreditation from a local body to enroll yourself in the program, or like what are you specifying here?
Yeah, the question is not clear, Adila. If you can get the question back.
Yes,
because when you talk about the accreditations and all, like for what he's asking, whether for him to follow, or I'm not clear about the question.
While we wait for Mr. Ranga, let's move on to Mr. Amila here. So he asks, is there any exemption for degrees in the UK after following this? That's his question. Is there any exemption for degrees in the UK after following this?
Okay, you mean to say after the diploma, is there any degrees to follow?
Okay.
Till you get that question, there's another question from
Mr. Amila's question, so that everyone can see. This is what Mr.
Amila. Okay, is there any exceptions for degrees in the UK after following this? Okay, so exemptions in the sense, this is a level 7 program, Amila. So of course you can get into the final year of your master program, mostly in the healthcare management, because now, as I told you, rather than general MBS, rather than general master in business administration, there are healthcare administrative programs, right? Master in healthcare administrative programs as well. So for those programs, you can get exemptions, and also like OTHN level 7 programs being accepted by many UK universities, even for you to follow the Master of Business Administration. So you will get most of the modules exempted from that. If you need further details, I think you can definitely contact one of the student council at Kensley so that they will help you out with that. But what I can say is, yes, there are exemptions for the postgraduate degrees, not the degrees, postgraduate degrees in the UK. Yeah, Adila.
Yeah, and for somebody, we have another question. This is from Ms. Murshida. Can anyone do this healthcare level 7 or should I do the diploma as also? Yeah, so.
Okay, can anyone do this healthcare level 7? If you have administrative experience, not related even in the healthcare sector, you can still enter into this healthcare program. It doesn't necessarily need for you to have the experience as in healthcare sector. If you're in different sector also, if you have some managerial, not the manager, at least administrative executive level experience, then you can join here and do the, this is not a diploma, this is level 7 diploma. So it's postgraduate qualification. Yes, you can get into that. Like anyone can do it. And it's not necessary that you are from the healthcare sector itself.
Okay, and we have another one from Ms. Prabhashini. Apparently she is a professional in the healthcare field. I'm an Ayurvedic medical officer and have completed my master's in hospital management. Now I'm looking for my PhD. Are there any suggestions on career development topics? So that's the question for us.
Yes, I could answer you this in separately because I think as far as I got your question, what you think is you're looking out for a topic to carry out your PhD, if I'm not mistaken. So if that is the case, you can reach to me via my email address so that I could help you out finding and selecting some topics. Adila, if you could later, can you send her my email address so that I can get in contact with her? Because that's what I think what she's asking is for her to go for some PhD. She wants to know about some suggestions for some career development topics. Yes, I can help you out, Prabhashini. So I will keep in touch.
Yeah, Prabhashini, don't miss out on contacting us. We'll reach out to you. So we haven't heard from Mr. Ramil, but anyways, let me copy paste his question so that you can maybe do it and maybe give your explanation on it.
Yes.
So that was Mr. Ramil's question.
So do we need accreditations, local body registrations? It's not clear actually. What do you mean? Like you need in the sense, I'm not clear about the question. Whether you're asking for yourself or you're asking for an institution, or you're asking this institution, or you're asking about the level 7 program. I'm not really.
So, Mr. Ramil, if you're here with us, you can just elaborate on the question, please. Okay, till then, any other questions? Anyone else? So the last question we had was from Prabhashini. So anyone else? No questions being forthcoming.
Yeah, if there's no questions, we could even wind up the session. And for any inquiries which you need to know about the program, if you're interested in program, then you could reach to Adila, and she will reach to you all anyway with further information if you need. But if there's any other questions, you can raise right now, or if not, we can wind up the session.
Okay, Mr. Rangas.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Just
you can forward the message, Adila, so I could see them.
Message. Yes, let me put this. So this is his question. Just want to know work in UK. What sort of, okay, he wants to know what kind of accreditation you need to work in UK.
I just wanted to know work in UK, what sort of accreditations needed. Okay, so
thank you, Mr.
work in UK in the sense, this is, I think I don't know, like work in UK in the sense like which professions is are referring for, but working as a healthcare management, yes, you need to get because this health and social care management level 7 program is offered by a UK body. So OTHM is UK body. So therefore, like if you have other relevant qualifications and if you have the postgraduate diploma, and then if it depends on, again, it depends on what is the profession you are going to apply for. When you say work in UK, there are different professions, and for different professions, there need to be different accreditations. Even, for example, for the nursing, like, you can join with NHS programs, and you can even join without NHS programs. So there are different areas where you can go for. Like even small caregiver homes, you have different opportunities, and some other areas, like in a larger scale, you have to join with the NHS, and you have to have some exams, cleared for that. And the same goes for the medical professionals. You have some exams, you need to be cleared for that. But here we are talking about the management, healthcare and hospital management. So depending on the requirement, depending on the, because I don't know what is the exact position you are asking for, but depending on the position, you might need some accreditations. But when you say health and social care level 7 program, what we explained today was like it's adding the managerial experience, or the managerial rather than experience, sorry, managerial qualifications to you to work as the administrative sector in the UK, right? Not in the clinical sector. It comes to the administration sector. So accreditation in the administrative sector is different rather than the clinical sector. So it's not that tight. So it depends again on what is the professions you are requesting for, and it depends on the job posting you are going for.
So maybe we could like entertain one more question, because like once we wrap up the program, we might miss out on the chance to like ask any questions that you might have in mind. So just go ahead, and if you have anything in mind, if you want to share anything, just let us know. One more question, please. Anyone? Okay, I don't see any questions. So how about we wrap up the session, Dr. Rasanjalee? Anything you have to add so far to what you've been saying? So like, I mean, it has been very insightful, the discussion that we've had, and I hope they've gathered a lot. So is there anything that you'd like to add in closing? Okay, for closing again, stronger recommended resources, web links, further study. That's what's exactly.
Recommended resources.
Yeah, recommended resources, web links for the study.
Studying of this program.
For the resources that we recommend, and web links, and that's what he wants. Recommended resources, web links for the study.
Recommended resources for the studies. I assume that he's asking related to this health and social care. Yes, recommended resources, web links. Okay, so talking about the recommended resources, the first thing, like as I told you, if you're interested in learning this, the most but for the recommended resource will be the official website of OTHM, which they have the whole program curriculum and the whole program details about this particular program, where again this curriculum has been made up by UK professionals, a body of UK professionals, by understanding the requirement of today's world, today's need, and then they have prepared this curriculum because there was a huge need in this healthcare management. So therefore, like, you can go through their website itself, and you can get the required curriculum. And even if you need to know further about it, you can always reach up to the counselors. And if you need to know how, like, about the leadership and the other qualities, or how to enhance your career, or how to develop your career, then you can, of course, I can give you some web links. If you could send me the email address, or any way that you could contact me later.
This is from Mr. Sajid. So thank you, Dr. Rasanjalee, for taking the time to share your knowledge and expertise with us during this webinar. Once again, thank you for your contribution to our webinar participant learning experience. Your willingness to share your expertise and insight is greatly appreciated. So detail to that, yes, we do indeed appreciate all that you've been sharing so far. Yeah, again, back again to your closing remarks, Dr. Rasanjalee. Anything more to add?
Yes, thank you so much for everyone who's joining, and I hope that you got a clear idea between this fine line between the caregiver and the healthcare management profession. Again, my little advice for you is try to elevate always your career. Don't try to regret your career, but add some more skills and elevate your career and move to the next career, next ladder. Always try to move up in the ladder rather than going down just for the sake of migration. So learn the right thing, and first you know where are you standing right now, and then you find out where I want to stand in the future, and find out the right thing and follow the right path so that you will be heading up where you wanted to be. So thank you so much everyone for joining. And thank you so much, Kinsley, for giving me the opportunity to give this knowledge to everyone. Where actually that is one of the most kind of needed topic I wanted to discuss also, because most of the time people are getting misleaded by several forums that they could migrate just by doing few courses. So I think this was a great opportunity even for these participants to know that the importance of learning this particular program. And if you had any kind of wrong messages in your mind, like by doing this you can go to this profession, I think those all were cleared. Thank you so much, Sajid, for giving me the opportunity, and thank you so much, Kinsley, as well as thank you, Adila, for having me with you today, and for coordinating the session.
Thank you, Dr. Rasanjalee. It was indeed a delight to have you with us. And thank you to everyone who's been working behind the scenes to make this webinar success. And we've also got a few notes of appreciation from our participants as well. So it would be too many to read, but maybe, okay, so we have Mangala and Anas, Sandamani, Amila, Prabhashini. So all of them say thank you. So we come to the end of the webinar. So wishing you all a good day. So let's wrap up. Good day to you all.
Thank you so much. See you, everyone.